Hey everybody, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're bringing some serious energy to literally one of the most dramatic moments in our planet's entire history. We are diving deep into the KPG extinction event, that precise, world-shattering moment in time that abruptly ended the age of the dinosaurs. So get ready, because we're going to unpack exactly what happened 66 million years ago.
Now, what if I told you the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs, well, wasn't actually the real killer? Or, at the very least, it had a massive, hidden accomplice. Today, we're challenging the standard narrative. I'm going to reveal a hidden, often ignored factor that changes absolutely everything we know about mass extinctions. Stick around, because this is going to fundamentally shift how you view the history of life on Earth.
Okay, let's dive right into this with Section 1, the classic story, the Chicxulub impactor. So, picture it. 66 million years ago, a colossal asteroid slams into the Yucatan Peninsula. Just boom, right? Instant, absolutely unimaginable devastation for miles in literally every direction. We're talking massive tsunamis, raging wildfires, just total destruction. And then comes the aftermath. Dust and debris rocket up into the atmosphere, completely blocking out the sun, and a brutal global winter sets in. It's dramatic, it's definitive, and honestly, it perfectly explains why so many species just vanished. But as complete as that timeline feels, it's not the whole picture, not even close.
Because the contrast between the forces at play here is just staggering. On one hand, you have the asteroid, right? It's instant, it's explosive, a massive but fundamentally sudden, localized impact. But on the other hand, we have the volcanoes. Prolonged, toxic, slow-motion, global environmental decay. Take a deep breath and really think about the difference between a sudden, explosive tragedy and a lingering, suffocating blanket of toxic change.
Which brings us to Section 2, the unseen killer, the Deccan traps.
Now, we aren't just talking about a single volcano blowing its top here. The scale we're dealing with is practically unimaginable. The Deccan traps in India were these colossal, continuous lava flows. The sheer volume of magma that poured out covered an area roughly the size of modern-day France. Just imagine that level of continuous eruption, constantly spewing unimaginable amounts of greenhouse gases, sulfur dioxide, and highly toxic chemicals straight up into the global atmosphere.
And you know how long this went on? Hundreds of thousands of years, possibly even a full million years. This slow-motion environmental disaster was completely straddling the extinction boundary, meaning this absolute nightmare scenario was already unfolding on Earth long before that Chicxulub asteroid ever even showed up in our sky.
And that leads us perfectly into Section 3, the perfect storm, a fragile ecosystem.
So the crucial point is that this Deccan volcanism created severe climate fluctuations, intense ocean acidification, and relentless acid rain. The ecosystem was already staggering, so we end up with this 1-2 punch. A severe, pre-existing environmental stressor weakens the whole ecosystem, and then it's compounded by a sudden catastrophic event. The asteroid was absolutely the final knockout blow for sure, but it hit an opponent that was already incredibly vulnerable. They were already staggering, already on the ropes from a deeply weakened environment.
I actually love this quote from our source material because it just makes it so perfectly clear. The volcanism was the flu, the asteroid was the crash. Think about it. If you're already battling a severe flu, you're feeling weak, compromised, utterly miserable, and then you get into a car crash, well, the flu didn't cause the accident, obviously, but it made surviving and recovering from that crash infinitely harder, maybe even impossible.
Of course, in science, we gotta have hard data. So here's Section 4, the geological evidence, proof in the rocks.
The evidence actually gives us a very clear yes and situation. Yes, geologists and paleontologists find iridium layers right at the extinction boundary, which is the definitive chemical signature of an asteroid impact. And right there alongside it, they find massive volcanic ash deposits, the undeniable signature of the Deccan traps. You see, the debate in the scientific community really isn't about if both of these things happened. It's about exactly how this devastating double whammy interacted to wipe out so much life on Earth.
Which brings us to Section 5, a pattern of extinction, nature's two-pronged attack.
Now, what if this 1-2 punch is actually nature's preferred method for hitting the reset button? Let's take a step back and look across geological history. For the KPG extinction, we have the asteroid as the sudden event and the Deccan traps as the prolonged stressor, right? But then, look at the end Permian extinction, the infamous Great Dying. We see an incredibly similar setup there. The Siberian traps volcanism happening alongside a potential sudden impact. It really seems like nature consistently uses this two-pronged attack to cause a global mass extinction.
And honestly, that is a deeply sobering thought. It shows that the immense resilience of life on Earth is so strong that a single catastrophic event, even a massive rock falling from space, might not actually be enough to cause a global mass extinction entirely on its own. It requires the immense, sustained power of environmental change to weaken the whole system first.
So let's move to Section 6, rethinking the narrative, the full complexity.
So why does the asteroid get all the credit? Well, because it's a simple, exciting villain falling from the sky. Volcanism is messy, it's prolonged, it's just harder to wrap your head around. But science demands we look past the simplest story and really embrace the full, messy complexity of our world. And this brilliantly illustrates the point. As the quote says, the asteroid was the match, the volcanism was the accelerant. Explaining the extinction of the dinosaurs by only pointing to the asteroid, it's literally like explaining a house fire by only mentioning a dropped match and completely ignoring the fact that the entire house was already filled with gasoline fumes. The narrative is just utterly incomplete without both.
So, I really want to leave you with this question to chew on. What other historical events have hidden, overlooked causes? Understanding these complex interactions isn't just about the dinosaurs, you know. It's absolutely key to grasping our own planet's history, and honestly, its future. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If you want to keep exploring the complex layers behind the stories we all thought we knew, make sure to tune in to our next explainer where we tackle the mysterious, sudden disappearance of the Roanoke colony. You absolutely won't want to miss it. See you then.